Good morning, everybody. Welcome to EDU 600. We are now entering week number 8, which to me, and I hope to you, is a pretty amazing feat considering it just seems like we started a few weeks ago this course. And this week we continue our exploration of quantitative research. Specifically, we're going to be looking at experimental research. Now, many of you are probably very familiar with experimental research because it's known for its adherence to the scientific method. So it's where the researcher is controlling variables. And with COVID and all of the vaccines and the boosters, this is an excellent example of what experimental research is. They are, I'm sure, I haven't read a tremendous amount about the type of research that they're looking at the efficacy of each one of the doses of the manufacturers, but what they're doing is based upon the studies, they're going to be looking at various dosage. They're going to be looking at the timing of the dosage. I think one thing that's been in the news over the last couple of weeks is a vaccine for the very young children. And with this, they are still playing around with the dosage and the timing. So that is truly experimental research. The researcher is playing around or not playing around, they are testing the actual variables involved with the research. So, with that said, I'd like to move right into the materials of what we have for this week. And the first thing is, well, this is my favorite place in the world, Popham Beach. It's about a half hour from my house out in Phippsburg, and I live in Topsom, so it's a very pleasant drive out there. No, this isn't today. Today is rainy and overcast, but this was a couple weeks ago. So, you're watching the video, have an explanation about experimental research. What is the purpose of it? Really, once again, experimental research seeks to determine a relationship between two variables, the dependent and independent variables. We also, Chapter 9, Factorial Designs. I'd like you to look at this video. Once again, you might have found I overlap, I reinforce certain things by introducing or putting on various weeks the same video. This whole thing about the bell curve is really important, and it really ties in with also the p-values and what we're looking for when we're actually going to be looking at the analysis of experimental research. There's a great video on experimental research. I really encourage you to take a look at these. And then something about experimental designs. None of these are extremely long, but I think they help in a different way than the textbook. Okay, what am I asking you to do this week? I'd like you to read chapters 8 and 9 and identify 2 to 3 quotes from each of the chapters that help you understand the concepts about experimental research. You know, you don't need to submit these at this point, but I'd like you to keep track of those. I'd like you to read an introduction to experimental research. This is just a PDF. It explains what experimental research is, and it explains all of the aspects of experimental research in what I consider a relatively easy document to read and understand. Then, if you remember back to week number 3, we got into groups and we read as a group a certain article. So that was in week number 3. And then I had, for the discussion post, I assigned everybody to group A, B, and C. Now, for this assignment, these groups are the same. If you were part of group A in week number 3, you are now part of group A in week number 8. Now, I changed the assignments around. So if you were in charge of the purpose the last time, this time you might be in charge of taking the lead on another part of the discussion. So, case in point. So this is HRD 600-001 is one of the sessions that I teach, and I just want to give you an example of what I'm talking about. for this class, and I'll show you the 005 class. So Group A, we have Sarah, Carrie, Jen, Chelsea, Rebecca H., and Kayla. So each one of these people are going to take the lead. To give you an example, Sarah is going to take the lead on the purpose and design. She will do the original post, and then hopefully we have a pretty robust discussion about the purpose and the design. Now, I will say, for those that are not in charge of and doing the original post with the data collection and the analysis and the results, please, as a group, help Chelsea and Rebecca, in this case, out with the data collection. I'll also be chiming in on all of these sections, but specifically on the analysis and the results. So that is it from this class. The same thing, Group B, Group C. I want you to take a look at your name, and then the same thing with the other class. Look for your name, and then what you're going to be doing is for Group A, you will use this, the article you're going to be reading, and this is the same for both classes. Give your ideas some legs. Positive effects on walking and creative thinking. Really interesting article. Here's the article down here. Group assignment, discussion guide, and steps. Group B, the same thing. You're going to be reading how dogs influence the evaluation of psychotherapists. And then Group C, give your ideas some legs. So we're two groups are using the same, and Group B is using this one. So I try to group people by, it could be the adult ed and teaching folks into one group. It could be the ed psych, the counseling, ESL into other groups. So there's some methods behind my madness here. Okay, so that's where the discussions are. So let me go back to the top. Excuse me. So we're going down. There's your groups again. So just a couple of things, or actually one more thing. The article Capture 2 assignment is due on March 13th. So that is not this weekend. That's coming up next weekend. Let me know if you have any questions on that assignment. But this is the second part of the first article capture was due. I can't remember what week it was. It was probably in week around 5, where you submitted to me 3 research articles. I gave you comments on those. This is the second part. So I'd like you to submit 3 more. I might have asked you to submit 4 in the second, in the article capture 2, because you might have only had 2 that were truly primary research. Any questions on this, please let me know. And that is about it at this point. Now, just bear with me. I'm going to go to the other class. I'm going to show everybody the same thing. So the same, everything is identical. Everything, each one of these classes is identical. The people are different. But in this case, Group A, you were part of Group A in week 3. Now you're part of Group A in week 8. This is the article you're reading, and these are the people that make up the group. So Emily is in charge of the purpose and design. We have Group B, Group C. So whatever course you're in, look for your name. If I messed up somehow and you don't see your name, please let me know. I'm here to help. So that is it. I just did want to, while I have everybody here, I just wanted to take a look at the syllabus. Let me click on that. And just so everybody knows, we have spring break coming up the 14th through the 18th. Now, everything will be scheduled, so there's going to be no required work during that week. Now, we do have the article capture 2 coming up. It's due on the 12th of March. I intentionally made that before the spring break. My intention is not to burden anybody with work during that week, but I will try to get at least the advanced organizer and maybe the content for the following week after spring break. So if anybody does want to try to get ahead or you want to look at things, you can do that. If you are going away and you would like the materials beforehand, please reach out to me. I'm here to help. So as you can see, we're not far from spring break. We have a week off. We have a day off in April, Patriots Day, and then classes end at the end of April. So we're making tremendous progress at this point. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you have any questions, any concerns, please reach out to me. If you're getting behind, you've run into COVID with your family, school, whatever it might be, please let me know what's going on, because I really need to know what's going on if you're falling behind and you need some additional help. So that's it for me. I hope you have a wonderful week. I will be grading everybody's visual displays this week, so you expect comments on that. And plus, there's a couple other people that submitted assignments a little late. I will correct all of those this week, so at the end of this week, we'll be caught up. See everybody. Have a great Sunday, and I'll see you online next week.